a mistake keeping him alive.
It's a mistake you'll have to live with.
The 27th annual awards banquet was held last evening, and they called me a couple of months ago, asked me if I would MC it and if we could talk to Mayor Bradley to see if he would come in and be the keynote speaker. And Bill and I do work with them.
Sports broadcaster, model, producer, writer, trailblazer. When it comes to Jayne Kennedy, the list goes on and on.
This afternoon, I get to spend a little bit of time with one of my superheroes, or should I say super sheroes, none other than Jayne.
Hey there, folks. Today we're diving into the story of Jayne Kennedy, a woman who was hailed as the alive back in the day. But guess what? Being drop-dead gorgeous wasn't all sunshine and roses for her. Nope, it was a bit of a mixed bag. Let me break it down for you. Jayne's beauty was like a golden ticket in Hollywood. Doors swung open left and right just because she looked like $1 million. Imagine that. But here's the twist. Her stunning looks also stirred up some serious drama.
She did our show, and Sanford and Son, and she was over there then. And I like Jayne. I mean, I thought she was attractive.
You see, jealousy reared its ugly head in Tinseltown. Other stars, feeling by Jayne's beauty, didn't exactly roll out the red carpet for her. Nope, they were more like, not today, Jayne. They were scared she'd steal their thunder, hog the spotlight, and leave them in the shadows. One name that pops up in this juicy tale is Diana Ross. Yep, the queen of Motown herself. Rumor has it, Diana felt by Jayne's beauty. Rumor has it, Diana didn't want to share the stage with her because she was afraid Jayne would outshine her. Can you believe it? Talk about drama. So, here's the deal. Being the woman alive might sound like a dream come true, but for Jayne Kennedy, it was a mixed bag. Sure, it got her foot in the door, but it also made some folks green with envy. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into Jayne's journey and uncover why being too beautiful ain't always a walk in the park. Trust us, it's about to get juicy. Jayne Kennedy, a big name in American showbiz, was born back in 1951 in Washington, D.C. She grew up in a family that had her back and supported her all the way. Even as a kid, she showed she had talent and guts. She loved performing in school plays and shaking a leg in dance shows. Despite not being rich, her folks cheered her on, knowing she had something special. When she was in her late teens, Jayne won the Miss Ohio USA contest in 1970. She made history by being the first African-American woman to snag that crown. This win shot her into the limelight and got her into modeling and TV gigs. People couldn't take their eyes off her. She was stunning and had a natural charm that caught everyone's attention. But things weren't all rosy for Jayne. Even though she had the goods, being a black woman in the mostly white entertainment world of the 70s wasn't easy. She faced discrimination and had fewer chances than others. But she didn't let that stop her. She kept going, dead set on making a mark. Her big break came when she scored a gig as a co-host on The NFL Today in 1978. She was the first African-American woman to do that in sports broadcasting. Viewers loved her brains, charm, and her solid knowledge of football. She became a household name, winning hearts all over the country. Her success on The NFL Today wasn't just a win for her, it opened doors for other women of color in the media biz. But Jayne wasn't just about sports. She kept at it in showbiz, doing acting, modeling, and even writing. Her early struggles and her never-give-up attitude are a big inspiration for anyone chasing their dreams. She showed that no matter what hurdles you face, sticking to your can pay off big time. Jayne Kennedy's story about beauty, which is like a double-edged sword. You see, Jayne Kennedy was one stunning lady, and that beauty of hers could open doors like nobody's business. But guess what? It could also slam some right in her face. Back in the day, when Jayne Kennedy strutted onto the scene, people couldn't help but take notice. She had that wow factor, you know? And that wow factor landed her some pretty sweet gigs in the entertainment biz. Movies, TV shows, you name it. Her beauty was like a golden ticket, giving her opportunities left and right. But hold up. Here's where things get real interesting. While her looks got her through the door, staying there was a whole different ball game. See, folks had this idea that because Jayne was easy on the eyes, she couldn't possibly have much else going on upstairs. Rumor has it, some folks in the industry thought she was just a pretty face, nothing more. During an interview with a source when asked if, she had admitted that she had opened doors because of the way she looked. Well, sure. I got hired, a lot, because of the way that I looked. But I also wound up on the cutting room floor because of the way that I looked. Laughs, as I did with Lady Sings the Blues. When Jayne mentioned the movie Lady Sings Blues, the interviewer went ahead and asked what role she played in the movie. She responded by saying, "I played Billy D. Williams' first girlfriend before he met Diana Ross. We had all of these scenes, and I did a great job." Then Gordy was looking at the rough cut of the movie, called me up and said, "You know what? I don't want to distract the audience from Diana Ross. I don't want to see all of these scenes with Billy D. and his other girlfriend. The first time we see Louis McKay, that's also going to be the first time that Diana's Billie Holiday sees him. I want Diana's oh my God experience and perspective to be shared by the audience." He said if the audience is looking at Billy D and me, they're not going to buy Billy D and Diana, and Motown cut me out of the movie. Now that's where the challenges kicked in. Society had these standards of beauty, and if you didn't fit the mold, well, tough luck. Jayne had to work twice as hard to prove she was more than just a pretty face. It wasn't just about talent. She had to fight against these stereotypes and prove she had brains too. But here's the kicker. Jayne didn't let any of that hold her back. Nope, not one bit. She kept pushing forward, breaking barriers, and showing the world what she was made of. Yeah, there were times when it felt like the odds were stacked against her, but she never let that stop her. Sure, there were opportunities she missed out on because she didn't fit into someone's idea of what beauty should look like, but you know what? She made her own opportunities. She carved out a path for herself in a world that often tried to box her in. So, yeah, beauty can be a double-edged sword, no doubt about it. But for Jayne Kennedy, it was a sword she wielded with grace and strength. And in the end, she proved that beauty is so much more than just what meets the eye. It's about resilience, determination, and staying true to yourself, no matter what. Back in 1970, Jayne was just 18 and working as an actress and model, mainly strutting her stuff as a fashion model for a big store called the May Company. She didn't plan on becoming famous by winning pageants, more for fun than anything serious. So Jayne was shocked when she won Miss Ohio, making history as the first African-American woman to snag the title. But winning Miss Ohio didn't magically open doors for her like people thought. Sure, her classmates cheered her on, but not everyone in her community was supportive. In fact, some folks defaced billboards with her picture. Even in 1970, there was a lot of anger over her win. And the worst part? Winning didn't bring her any cool prizes or help her break into Hollywood like people assumed. Nope, life after winning was tough. She faced backlash and didn't get any of the goodies promised to winners. 2 months later, she went for Miss USA, making it to the top 10 in swimsuit and top 15 overall. But her big break came when she met Leon Kennedy, a DJ. They hit it off, got hitched, and packed up for a big adventure to Los Angeles. In LA, Jayne tried her hand at being a receptionist in a law office while chasing auditions. Then, thanks to Leon's pal Lamont, she got a shot at being a dancer on a comedy show called Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. That gig opened doors, leading to more opportunities like touring with Bob Hope's USO show and dancing on the Dean Martin show. She even landed roles in TV shows and movies like Sanford and Son and Wonder Woman. But not every door swung open for her. She missed out on big roles like in the Billie Holiday biopic and Charlie's Angels because some folks thought she'd steal the spotlight. There was even talk of a spin-off from a movie she did, but it never happened. And in 1980, she was supposed to star in a movie about Dorothy Dandridge's life, but that fell through too. Instead, we got an HBO movie about Dorothy Dandridge in '99. Jayne Kennedy strutted onto the scene, landing some major roles in both film and television. We're talking about roles that made people sit up and take notice. From appearing in hit TV shows like The $6 Million Man to making waves in movies like Body and Soul, Jayne knew how to command the screen. But let me tell you, it wasn't all glitz and glam for Jayne. Nope, she faced her fair share of challenges along the way. One of the biggest hurdles? Racism. She faced racism being the first Black Miss Ohio winner and a finalist in the Miss USA pageant wasn't very significant for her. Yeah, you heard me right. Even in the bright lights of Hollywood, racism reared its ugly head. During an interview with the source she was asked about racism, she responded by saying, "There were no avenues at that particular time for a black actress other than the handful of black pictures that would come up. Probably one or two two every 3 or 4 years. Any magazine back then would say, no, we don't put black women on the cover. We don't hire blacks for this. I even had an executive, a producer at Warner Brothers, tell me. There was a reason they didn't use blacks in movies. It's because if a black face appears on the screen, the audience will get sidetracked and forget the plot of the movie. She continued. A couple of years later, I went into the same studio to pitch a feature film that I wanted to produce. The executive spent the entire meeting leering at me, and after my presentation, he said to me, "Oh my God, Debbie Allen was here pitching a project last week, and I was so infatuated with what she looked like that I don't even remember what she was talking to me about. I was so insulted." But did Jayne let that stop her? Heck no, she stood tall, faced it head on, and kept on shining. Now here's where it gets juicy. Jayne Kennedy wasn't just making waves on screen, she was also making a big impact off screen. You see, Jayne wasn't just an actress, she was a symbol of representation in the media. She showed the world that black women could be more than just sidekicks or stereotypes. They could be leading ladies, strong and powerful, just like her. She also transitioned into sports broadcasting. Jayne had always been crazy about football. Her old man, total sports nut. Baseball, football, you name it. And she was right there with him, cheering on the sidelines. When she heard about a gig on the NFL Today, she was over the moon. But get this, before all that, she was rubbing elbows with the Cleveland Browns doing PR stuff. Sports ran in her blood, no doubt about it. High school done, she's diving headfirst into the world of sports. Junior Olympics, been there, done that. And remember when she used to go watch her dad swing that bat on the baseball field? Yeah, those were the days. So, when the chance to talk football on TV came knocking, she didn't think twice. This was her jam, her moment in the spotlight. When asked during a one-on-one interview with a source about her transition into sports broadcasting, she responded by saying, "I knew I could do the job. And I knew it would have been a passion project for me. To be able to work with all of these sports figures who had been my heroes. I managed to convince the head of sports talent for CBS out of New York to give me an audition. When I walked in, there were 15 girls there with blonde hair and blue eyes, and then there was me. I said, here we go again. I'm never going to get this job. I'm not what they're looking for. I decided to sit back, relax, engage in the process, give it my best, and let it go. After I got back to LA, I got the call. CBS was concerned, though, wondering what the Southern affiliates would say, for example, because I was black. Jayne was able to get the job. But here's the kicker. They didn't exactly roll out the red carpet for Jayne. Nope, they didn't give her any training, and they wouldn't even let her hang around the studio in her free time to learn the ropes. Now, you might think Jayne would throw in the towel, call it quits, and say, enough's enough. But nah, she wasn't about to let some haters bring her down. She had this inner strength instilled by her folks, who always told her to believe in herself no matter what. Every day was like a battle for Jayne. You had these print journalists who were mad that TV folks like her could spill the beans before they could even grab their morning coffee, so they had it out for her, big time. But Jayne, she just shrugged it off. She knew who had her back, the players, the coaches, the big shots of the sports world. They were all cheering her on. Take Joe Namath, for instance. He wasn't keen on chatting with Phyllis George, but once he heard Jayne was on the scene, he was all in. And then there was Julius Erving, a real big shot. He said, no interviews at my place unless it's with Jayne. Talk about a stamp of approval. Even legends like Bill Russell finally caved and agreed to an interview, but only if Jayne was the one asking the questions. That's the kind of respect she earned. And did I mention that the gig she landed on NFL Today was short? Well, she was only signed for 6 weeks, and the pay wasn't much. She had to prove herself during those 6 weeks to keep the job for longer. During her second week on the job, there was a big fight coming up between Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks in New Orleans. CBS Sports Spectacular wanted the post-fight interview, but they were worried about the big bucks it would cost. Jayne overheard their worries and boldly said she could get the interview for them. Everyone laughed at her, but she was dead serious. She got on a plane with her crew, headed to New Orleans, and made a bold move. She called up Muhammad Ali and asked for the interview. He agreed and even left a key to his hotel suite for her. After the fight, She and her crew were all set up in his suite, waiting for him. When he arrived, he did the interview, saying he'd only do it for his friend Jayne. She took the interview back to New York, and it aired on CBS Sports Spectacular. Her bold move paid off, and on Monday, her contract was renewed. Another time, Jayne found herself at a programmers conference in Las Vegas. She heard that Muhammad Ali was there too, speaking to a group of programmers. She walked into the room and saw him surrounded by journalists and photographers. When he spotted her, he called her over and pulled her up onto a dresser next to him. They hit it off and became good friends. So, that's how Jayne Kennedy made her mark in broadcasting, by taking risks and making friends in high places. It wasn't always easy, but her boldness and charm helped her succeed. And let me tell you, Jayne Kennedy's influence didn't stop there. Oh no, it rippled through the industry, inspiring countless others to chase their dreams, no matter the odds. She showed them that with hard work, determination, and a whole lot of sass, anything is possible. Let's talk about how she shook things up in popular culture. Before Jayne came along, there weren't many black women on TV strutting their stuff. But she changed all that. She busted through those barriers and showed the world what she was made of. Now, when folks saw Jayne on their screens, they couldn't help but pay attention. She wasn't just another pretty face. She was a trailblazer. People admired her style, her grace, and her talent. She made it cool to be yourself, no matter what anyone else said. But hey, it wasn't always smooth sailing. There were rumors swirling around, trying to bring her down. But guess what? Jayne didn't let that stop her. She kept on shining, proving all the doubters wrong. And that's the kicker, my friends. Jayne Kennedy didn't just leave a mark on popular culture. She left an everlasting impression. And to this day, her legacy lives on, inspiring folks everywhere to chase their dreams, no matter what. Now, isn't that juicy? So there you have it, folks. The story of Jayne Kennedy's acting career. A tale of triumph over adversity, of breaking barriers and blazing trails. And as for Jayne, well, rumor has it she's still out there, dazzling audiences and inspiring the next generation of Hollywood superstars. Here's to you, Jayne Kennedy. You truly are a legend. And that is all for today. Until next time, bye.